Okay, my presentation is called "I Shot My Family 2 Christmases Ago." Some of you know I shoot like a lot of events and stuff like that at Cranard, and I just decided for this presentation to do something a little bit more personal. So yeah, okay. This is my OM1 MD, actually. It's my dad's OM1 MD, Olympus. He bought this camera a few days after I was born to document my growing up. When I decided I wanted to get into photography seriously, he gave it to me. I had to get a new Mercury battery adapter. The meter is a little off. I've tried other cameras, but I've always seemed to fall back on this one. So it's just me. My mother worked for Kodak. She started working for them right out of high school. She did clerical work, and then she was the secretary for one of the American bosses. 35 years later, she retired when she was the senior sales director for Asia Pacific. I remember when I was 16, I had gone to a barbecue with some friends when she had expressly forbade me to go, and I took some photos and for the first time I had to have them developed at a shop, and I was like, what, you actually have to pay money for this? So it was like a week's worth of pocket money because I just went crazy with the shooting. My family is large. I am the eldest of 4. My mother is the eldest of 10. My father is the third youngest of 10. Actually, my mother is the eldest of 10 from my maternal grandfather's second marriage. He had 12 children from his first marriage to his wife in China. And actually, my paternal grandmother is my paternal grandfather's second marriage. Does that make sense? Both my grandparents had emigrated to Singapore, and they were in their second marriages. So I'm doubly illegitimate. My grandmother used to say that our families combined could play a soccer match with parents as reserves. I come from a culture that is dying. I'm Eurasian. I'm also Peranakan. I'm Straits Chinese. My ancestors have not lived as pure Chinese for a really long time. There are similar pockets of mixed-race cultures like Eurasians, Hong Kong, for example. During the spice trade in the 18 and 1900s, Portuguese, Dutch, and English colonized parts of Southeast Asia, and Singapore became a major port of call. My father is half Portuguese, half Chinese. I'm 1/4 Portuguese and 3/4 Chinese. Eurasians are a race formed in a time. If a Portuguese woman marries a Chinese man in Singapore today, their offspring are not Eurasians. If you really look at my family, you'll find yourself trying to peg where we're from. There's history in our faces, and some of you know I don't usually photograph people in my personal work, and I do more work about space, landscape, architecture, and place. Like this photo of Merce Cunningham's apartment in New York after his death. On the last day, it was vacated. Those 10 shadows are frames of where Jasper John's artwork used to be, and altogether they sold for $865,000 at Christie's. This is a fact. I decided I wanted to photograph as many of my family as possible during the Christmas of 2009, and I arranged for my entire family to come to a studio that I had rented. At first, there was this kind of hesitancy. People were shy, people have no time. It was Christmas season after all, and can you imagine Christmas shopping for my family? What turned out was that they found a lot of comfort in numbers. They all showed up in the evening together. The studio was small, so they were all cramped in the back of the studio. They teased each other, made each other laugh. It became sort of a family party. There was food, drink, lots of chatter, laughter. People were all over, and they were distracted, but I did get a few gems. This is Sam. He was turning 50. He's sort of quiet and well-mannered and he's always been that way since I've known him. He doesn't raise his voice. He's always smiling. He's got one son. I see him every year. We talk over food. One of those large family gatherings that we have, and we have a few sometimes. Everybody tries to make one, at least one of them. We were sort of just goofing around after the shoot, and he flexed his arm, and I noticed he had been working out more. He's turning 50. And he smiled and said yes, and then he walked out in front of the camera, took off his shirt, and he said, "Take my picture like this." I was surprised. There was something deep going on with him, and I raised my camera to my face, and in 2 seconds, the moment was gone. He put on his shirt again. This is my Uncle Sonny, 91. His mother was dying, and she asked my grandmother to marry my Auntie Dot, It was an arranged marriage, and Peranakan families are quite matriarchal. And on top of that, my grandfathers died in their 50s. I've never met them. And my auntie Dot, 15 years younger than him, has been married to him for 55 years. And he didn't even want to come that day. He said he wanted to go to like the Sunday evening mass instead. And my brother got wind of the family, his brother got wind of the family photo shoot, that's his brother. And he came too. And Uncle Sunny died about a month after this photograph was taken. The other thing that's been really great that has come out of all of this is that I've suddenly become the repository of family stories and photos. That Christmas, for the first time, my cousin dug up a photo and scanned it and sent it to me, and this is my great-grandmother. The one in the middle playing mahjong, and it was the first time actually that my own father had actually seen a photo of his grandmother. And so yeah. Anyway, this is my dad. There aren't many people that use the OM1 anymore, the camera that I was talking about. The simplicity of the original design still floors me. I mean, it was designed by the guy who designed the Leica M3, for those of you who know what that means. The shutter controls are in the front. You just slip your hand backwards, and then you set your aperture, and you're there. No finicky dials on top of the camera. It's harder to maintain the battery because the new zinc batteries just don't last that long. One of my inspirations is Christian Boltanski. He's a French artist, and he once said, what is certain is that photography is related to death and the past, because the moment you take a photograph of something, 3 minutes later, it's something that no longer exists, which also means that sometimes you try to preserve something and you kill it. It's the same as putting something behind glass in a museum. It's the image of the object, but not the object itself. So in fact, photography saves and kills at the same time. Saves, and in the end, evokes the idea of something that no longer exists. Every year we get together, as many of us as possible, and we take a family photo. This one was from 2 years ago. Not everyone was there. In fact, this is like half of the family that usually comes to a full-blown family gathering. I was taking the picture, and my godfather and uncle, who was sitting in the front, he wasn't wearing any underwear. And he barked at me and after I took the photo, and he said, "Hey girl, can you see my balls or not?" And so I sort of zoomed in and I checked the photo and I said, "No." Thanks.